We have a very, very special guest coming up next, the founder of the Jordan Legacy CIC. It was created in memory of his son Jordan, who he tragically lost to suicide in 2019. Please give a very warm welcome to Phillip. Steve, it is an absolute pleasure to have you with us. You look very smart, by the way.
I thought I'd make it. It was either going to be a hoodie or it was going to be smart. And someone told me the sun was going to shine today.
It is. We're holding out hope. It will come, Steve.
Yeah,
but also,
should have worn the hoodie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you're showing us all up. You look lovely. We're starting each conversation with just asking our guests how they are personally. How are you doing?
Yeah, no, I'm really good. Really excited to be here today. I'm just literally 48 hours having returned from holiday. And
where'd you go? Anywhere nice?
Yeah, I'm fortunate. I have a really beautiful French wife, and she has two sisters. One lives in Paris, and the other one lives in the south of France. So we've just done the
dream.
south of France.
Brilliant.
Yeah, so.
And you're feeling refreshed?
Yeah, I think. Ready.
Well, I apologise that you've come back home to this British weather. But let's talk about the Jordan Legacy. What is it, and where did it all start, Steve?
Yeah, well, as you mentioned. Just for a bit of context, I worked in consultancy, I ran my own consultancy practice, coaching and speaking on the subject of social media. And on December the 4th of 2019, I was delivering a Facebook workshop to an organisation in the West Midlands, and just about to get in my car to come back home and received a call that essentially changed my life. And it came from Jordan's girlfriend, Charlotte, and she told me she'd come home to his house in Horsforth, just outside Leeds, and discovered Jordan had taken his own life. And as I say, everything in my world as I knew it changed at that moment, really.
What was that moment like? I'm sorry to take you back there, Steve, but look, it's a relatable story, unfortunately, as you know from your work through the Jordan Legacy. What was that moment like, that earth-shattering moment when everything changed?
I mean, I talk about it a lot. It's what I do now through the Jordan Legacy, and I think when initially you received that news, I remember the call was logged at 2 minutes with Charlotte. I remember about the first 20 seconds, those opening words, and that was about it. So there are no words to describe it, really. You're just stunned. You know, you're faced with a 3-hour drive back home. The company took me into a medical room to look after me. They even offered to have a driver come back with me and take me back home. But my reaction was, how can I have some poor sod sit next to me for the next 3 hours where I've got to make the calls and deal with it however I'm going to deal with it on hands-free. So I drove back and just remember coming off the A1 at Wetherby to head back home towards Harrogate and just wondering whether I should just carry on driving, really, and just keep going. But anyway, we came back and here we are now, really.
How did you change, and how have you changed since then?
It's been really interesting. I had quite a period of time, some months really, of definitely suffering with some experience of PTSD and trauma. Within weeks, were in COVID, so I had to take a step back from kind of life as it was, as we all did at that time. And that was interesting because it gave me that time to kind of reflect and say, what do I want to do now? And very quickly I came to a conclusion that I wasn't going to go back to consultancy or business or do anything like that. And I needed to make some sense as to what had happened. My knowledge of mental health, I have to say, despite Jordan being diagnosed with clinical anxiety and depression 4.5 years before his death, my understanding of these subjects was minimal, really very, very poor. So I was on a quest over the next few months to read, to speak to people. And as I started to reach out to my network and talk about it, it was very clear that this was a subject that hadn't just affected me. It had affected a lot of people. And I think within the following weeks, a decision was formed in my mind that I was going to do something very different.
And tell us what that was.
And that was to form the Jordan Legacy. We formed the Jordan Legacy in August 2020, so literally 8 months later. I believe that I had that idea about the Jordan Legacy around that time, but when I look back at my journals, in fact, the name the Jordan Legacy was being written down in my journal in January of 2020. So I'd obviously made a decision fairly soon that I was going to do something. And as I say, in August the 1st of 2020, we founded the Jordan Legacy. And our mission is really to collaborate and partner and work with others to look at how we can move towards what we would call a zero suicide society, which doesn't mean we can prevent all suicides, because we can't. But by our definition, it's a society that's willing and able to do all it can to prevent all preventable suicides.
And for anyone watching and listening now, Steve, what is it that you do to encourage and to spread that message and to try and help people?
Yeah, my days are pretty busy, really, from delivering talks, coming to events like this, delivering talks to organisations and schools. I know we're going to talk a little bit about this. Back in 2021, was one of the original co-founders of the Baton of Hope, which I then passed the baton to Mike McCarthy, my good friend, who's done an amazing job with it since. And we've run our own radio show called Jordan Space for a couple of years, and now a podcast called Happier Me. We've published reports on suicide prevention, met with government. What haven't we kind of done during the last 5 years? It's just been a whirlwind, and we're now looking at a really big initiative, a collaborative initiative, where we're looking to pull really everyone together in this space to allow those voices that are typically not heard to be heard, and we're calling that initiative One Voice, One Hope.
Can you tell us more about that, how that's going to work?
Yeah, again, it's another one of these wild ideas that you have. But I think it was last year when I was having more and more conversations with people that have been bereaved by suicide or impacted by suicide, who were trying their best to make a difference out of their own experience, but on their own. Most were struggling to raise funds. Most were struggling just generally. And I thought, why aren't we collaborating more? Why aren't we pulling all these people together in one room?
There's power in numbers.
Yeah, and work together. So One Voice, One Hope is a national network, a framework, based on a report we published called Moving Towards a Zero Suicide Society, and all the different pieces of the puzzle, from education to online safety to workplace suicide prevention to getting the government involved, getting all those pieces of the puzzle, and anyone who's involved with any of those pieces to come together and work collaboratively to look at real practical solutions to getting the numbers down. Emma, you'll know these stats. We lose 7,000 plus men, women and children every single year to suicide. Those numbers have not moved downward significantly in over 17 years now. So whatever we've been doing so far has stemmed the tide. So we are saving lives, everybody, but what we're not doing is reversing the trend, and we need to do that.
Steve, since that life-changing and heartbreaking day back in 2019, what kind of change have you seen from an individual perspective when you've met with people that you've helped?
I kind of go right back to that first day when I thought this was only happening to me, naively, and then suddenly there was this world of other people that were being impacted by suicide. You know, for each death by suicide, it impacts on average 135 other people. So if you take the 7,000 plus deaths, that's 945,000 people every single year impacted by suicide. It's costing the UK economy some £10 billion. What have I seen? I've just seen an ever-growing, sadly, amazing group of people out there who want to make a difference, who want to work collaboratively. I think we've seen some progress with government. We've seen the Online Harms Act come into place, but I know people like Ian Russell really well who are just saying it's still not good enough. The government are still not doing enough. They're not investing enough. If it is costing our economy £10 billion, why aren't we using a good chunk of that money to invest in real proper national strategic campaigns to get suicide numbers?
We have to talk about the reality of that, Steve, and what that looks like. And from you, who is so experienced in that space, tell us what that looks like practically. What if somebody said to you, you know, we can slash the numbers by half in 5 years? How do we do that?
I think firstly, it's having a real activated suicide prevention public, an educated and activated public, so that everyone gets educated about the risks. It's not going to happen to everybody, but it can happen to anyone. So first of all, we all have a duty to look after each other and get educated about this. I think we need a national suicide prevention office in place. We've had token ministers The last time we had a real suicide prevention minister was in Theresa May's government. We've had a few prime ministers since then, obviously, but that was the last time we had a dedicated suicide prevention minister. But we need a national suicide prevention office that filters into local partnerships at government level and a real strategy with practical actions. I mean, it's now almost 3 years since the last 5-year plan was announced by the government. I've yet to see any practical actions come out of that, which certainly not been shared with us. So, yeah, we need everyone who's doing the work now to continue and to collaborate, and we need the government to really come on board and recognise, you know, if we're losing 200 school kids to suicide, and that's just the recorded numbers of age 10 and above. I know children as young as 6 taking their own lives. We've got to do better, really got to do better.
If Jordan was here now, what do you think he'd say about all the hard work that you've done, Steve?
Yeah, it's interesting. I saw that question in the lineup to today, and I thought it'd be really interesting.
I think he'd be very proud of you.
Yeah, I was trying to get those words out, actually. I hope he'd be proud, and I'm sure he would be proud. You know, from my point of view, I just kind of wish I'd known more. I wish I wasn't sitting here, really, and I wish I'd known more before, and I could have had the kind of conversations that the likes of ANDYSMANCLUB are having, and you know what Luke's established here is just phenomenal. I wish I'd known more about that.
Yeah, it echoes the importance of these groups, doesn't it? You know, that can help when men can sit together, talk honestly with each other. It's amazing what can happen, isn't it? You'll have seen that in your work.
Oh, definitely. The conversation is so important. And I was chatting with a couple of guys. Chris, who's over there, he's just moved back from Dubai to London, having lived out there for 12 years. Chris was a guest on our radio show. I know you won't mind me saying he's a suicide survivor. He shouldn't be here, but for interventions, he is. And one of the great things about the conversation with ANDYSMANCLUB is the hashtag It's Okay to Talk. But I've taken an extra step with that and said, what if you don't feel like you can talk? Is there another hashtag we could use? And I just went online and looked at the hashtag It's Okay to Ask. Yeah. For us to reach in and ask, you know, are you thinking of ending your own life? And you will not plant the seed in someone's mind. That's a complete myth. Nobody was using that hashtag. Anyway, I couldn't believe it. So we've nicked it. I don't think I can copyright it, but we've nicked it. And we're going to use it for now. But yeah, it's okay to talk, but it's okay to ask as well and reach in.
And have you seen firsthand the benefits of asking? Have you employed that yourself?
Oh, without question. I don't record all these. Sometimes I think maybe I should have a little note of the conversations that I've had online. But it's every so often those LinkedIn messages or an email that I'll get say, you don't know me, but your story either saved my life or saved a family member's life, you know, or somebody. And that's the measure for me that we are making a difference. You don't always hear about it, but when you do, it's really, really special.
I want to end on a very pertinent question, Steve. What is your favourite memory that you have of Jordan?
Oh, gosh. I think he was a really good basketball player. Really good basketball player as a teenager. We lived in Canada for several years. And when we came back to the UK, we used to play a lot of one-on-one hoops together at the local leisure centre there. And I think, you know, I really enjoyed that time together. Probably there are many, many special moments. One final one in Leeds was only a matter of a couple of months before he died that we both went to watch our favourite band at Leeds Academy, which was Hootie and the Blowfish. Any Hootie and the Blowfish fans? You go, who? Okay.
I thought we had one over there.
We did for a moment, yeah. And that was pretty special because they came over to the UK and, we had a really great evening in that October. Yeah.
Steve, thank you so much for all of your hard work and your dedication. Yeah. Steve Phillip of the Jordan Legacy CIC, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Can I give you a hug? Thank you so